just a 27-year-old female accepting the truth about being ugly while trying to live her life. I am a 27-year-old woman. I have never shared this with anyone, which is why I am posting from a throwaway account. This will be a bit longer because I am unsure how to even begin telling my story. For these 27 years, I have never once been called beautiful or pretty, only cute a handful of times. I have never had a boyfriend or an actual relationship with men. I have never formed close and meaningful friendships with others as I was growing up, despite being described as kind-hearted, friendly, positive, and understanding. No matter how hard I tried, I could never attain what I desired, not even the smallest things. I have always wondered what I did wrong, what I could improve. Then one day, it suddenly made sense. A few years ago, I began viewing everything from a different angle. I realized I am unattractive. There is no other way to express it. I simply am unattractive. Even with makeup, the finest clothing, and manicured nails, I cannot compare to girls my age, even when they are devoid of makeup and wearing pajamas with unkempt hair. Those around me always diverted their gaze when this subject arose. Throughout my life, I noticed how my family regarded me, even when they refrained from speaking, as that would be disrespectful. I attended a wedding recently and saw my cousins, whom I had not seen since childhood. Their initial facial expression upon seeing me conveyed everything. Dressed in my best attire and adorned with beautiful jewelry, all they could say was, "Oh, you're so grown up." Yet, their expression revealed disgust at my appearance the moment they laid eyes on me. I have faced bullying in school. It was only later that I understood it was entirely due to my unattractiveness, not because of any wrongdoing on my part. Always feeling like an outsider turned me into an overthinker. So here I am, finally embracing the truth. I also accept the reality that there is literally nothing in this world that could fix me or make me beautiful. No quantity of plastic surgery could elevate me even to a solid 5 out of 10 because everything about my body is unappealing and asymmetrical. Yes, we all have days when we feel unattractive, but the fundamental difference is that I am unattractive. Now for the part that truly weighs heavily on me. I feel ashamed even writing this. I have been intimate with a few men in my life, but they could not maintain an erection, or even if they did, it would not last more than a few minutes after looking at my face. Perhaps the most disheartening of all is that none of them could ever finish. They would simply be done after a few distressing minutes, then head straight for the shower and remain there for an extended period. Only in positions where they couldn't see my face would they be all right. As soon as we kissed or made eye contact, they would lose interest. It's such a strange thing to explain to others. It's incredibly humiliating to acknowledge this. If it happened once or twice, fine, whatever, but it has occurred with several different guys over the years, multiple times, so it's evidently connected to me. Again, it doesn't matter how appealing my lingerie is, the extent of foreplay, nothing helps. Thus, I have remained celibate for approximately 4 years now, as these experiences have utterly shattered my already fragile self-esteem. I have never been approached by a man in public, not even once. In clubs, even the most inebriated men would reject me if I approached them, let alone would they ever come to me. No one has ever bought me a drink or offered me a complimentary drink. Nobody has ever catcalled me, and even at gas stations, I never receive the rudest comments from men there. It feels as if I am invisible. Clearly, I do not desire that, but being recognized positively would mean a great deal to me. I have always longed for a family. I recognized earlier in life that I would never be able to have one, so over the years, I convinced myself that I did not want marriage or children, even though I truly do. I desire it immensely, but it feels unattainable. Some might say or think that I am not unattractive if I have managed to get a man into bed or have kissed someone. Well, it took time to get to that point. I consistently have to be polite, funny, charismatic, or anything related to my personality on dating applications, so that perhaps 1 out of 100 men might show interest. I cannot simply show up to a date and sit there looking pretty, because I am not. I need to possess qualities that most beautiful women do not have to think about at all. I must have knowledge in a variety of subjects to keep a man interested enough to stay and not flee during the date. I need to be informed on so many topics that interest me and do not, just to keep the conversation flowing. I have been stood up. I have been left alone on a date where a man went to the restroom and never returned. I have been blocked by men immediately after the date if they were polite enough to stay for the duration of it. It is not solely about men, it pertains to everything in life. I have lost count of the number of times I was an ideal candidate for a job, yet they would always select someone else, who was obviously more attractive but less qualified. This applies to everything. On the subway, no one offers me a seat when I appear exhausted. I cannot leave the house without a full face of makeup on, because every time I do, those around me inquire if I am unwell or not feeling all right due to my appearance. When I dressed casually for school, for instance, showing up in sweatpants or a hoodie, I would be sent home for the day. Yet when other girls dressed like that, everyone would allow them to stay, as it is merely an occasional occurrence that happens to everyone. Neighbors never assist me with anything, regardless of how kind I am to them when we encounter one another or how many times I have helped them. The only time someone actually does something for me is to return a favor they owe me after I have done something significant for them. As I mentioned, I have accepted this reality. I do not envy attractive women, I admire them. If I were beautiful, I would also take advantage of my looks to achieve my goals. Nonetheless, it is incredibly challenging to wake up each day and confront a harsh reality check. I am not searching for male approval, or however this might seem. It is just increasingly frustrating to live in an era that prioritizes appearances. I realize there is nothing I can do. I can only work on my social skills, but I have only developed them throughout my life out of necessity, not desire. I yearned for many things in life, but only as I grew older did I come to understand that I could never have them because they are intertwined with looks. Beauty is subjective, or so the saying goes. However, if people had to choose whether they would prefer to wake up each day beside someone objectively attractive or someone objectively unattractive, I believe we all know the choice they would make. Oh, but someday someone will love me for who I am as a person. They wouldn't care only about my appearance. Yes, but no one has ever wanted to give me a true opportunity. No one cared to get to know me on a deeper level. Whether or not they are superficial, they perceive me as unattractive and simply do not want to look beyond that because they can find someone better, someone who is appealing. So why would they waste their time when they can find someone superior? Therefore, all the pity or comforting remarks I have heard do not lift my spirits because they are untrue. In addition to the numerous things I have outlined here, there exists a vast array of genuinely awful everyday examples, not to mention various issues unrelated to being unattractive that continuously bring me down each day. But I suppose I must persist in living, not in the manner I desire, but only as society permits me to. It is disheartening to be trapped in this way. At times, I despise myself. I loathe what I see. No matter how confident I may feel or pretend to be, I am still unattractive. And that is the reality. I resent that people avoid using the term ugly as if it is taboo or something. Not everyone is beautiful. There are genuinely unattractive individuals out there like me. I do not regard it as an offensive term. It is merely a truthful one, so I do not take offense at it. Additionally, I have been on Reddit for quite a while. So I kindly ask everyone who has read all of this not to send me messages requesting pictures or proof that I am actually unattractive, or anyone who wishes to feel pity for me, or to let me vent, even more please do not. It was already sufficiently challenging for me to write all of this. I cannot respond to those kinds of messages, or even hear all of that body positivity advice, or whatever some people might consider saying. I just want to post here once without any feedback, or appearing as if I am seeking attention because I am not. I simply wish to know I am not alone in feeling this way. So please, Reddit users, spare me such messages. Thank you to everyone who took a few minutes to read my story. I appreciate being seen or heard, even if it is here. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Story 2. Me and my girlfriend broke up a month ago over a heated argument. Later, I found out that the guy friend she would go hiking with is dating her. I didn't know if I got cheated on. So I will provide a bit of context here. I am 28 years old and my ex is 30 years old. We met on a dating application, shared our social media accounts, and discussed many topics including our hobbies, how our past relationships ended, and some personal matters. Her background was quite difficult, as she had been cheated on multiple times. She faced much more hardship than I did. We went on a few dates, and about a month after getting to know her, I realized she wasn't fully engaged. She asked me to stop pursuing her, but we went ahead with our planned date anyway, just for the sake of it. A week later, I was given another chance, and eventually, we became a couple after 3 months of dating. A month after we started our relationship, she confessed to having a relapse related to her previous relationship, where she had been cheated on. I tried my best to comfort her, and she seemed to recover fairly quickly. I inquired if her earlier request for me to stop pursuing her was also due to a relapse, and she confirmed that it was. After her first relapse, I noticed that she became easily irritated by trivial things like poor photography and playful nicknames. I apologized as often as I could, considering what she had experienced previously. She would sometimes ask if she was being too hard on me, to which I would reassure her that it was acceptable due to her circumstances, such as hormonal fluctuations and work-related stress. This pattern persisted even when we were together. On one occasion, she jokingly mentioned that she was the only mature girl I had talked to. This comment bothered me because it implied that my previous girlfriend was immature. During a phone call, I expressed that I did not think my ex deserved to be criticized like that and suggested that she could afford to lighten up a bit. She apologized, but afterward, she stated that she would be returning everything I had spent on our dates and was considering cutting me off completely from her contacts. I managed to convince her against that decision, and we moved forward. This became a recurring issue during our short relationship. Whenever I tried to express my feelings, she would automatically assume she was a terrible person, which made me feel guilty. I explained that the purpose of feedback was not to demean us, but to find ways to improve, as long as the critique was valid. I encouraged her to be as honest as possible with me, as bottling up emotions was more harmful. Regarding her second relapse, I attempted to dismiss my feelings about it, but I could not shake the discomfort. It was not her anger that troubled me weakly, but rather the notion that I wasn't good enough for her. The combination of her initial relapse and the resulting mood swings felt like her reaction was being directed at me. For several days, we continued to exchange affectionate messages and maintained our usual calls. However, I noticed her making jokes about only wanting to date rather than seeking a serious relationship. When I asked if she was certain about us, she responded with a vague, "No." I also inquired about visiting her again, but she mentioned she had already told her grandmother that we had broken up. She laughed and claimed she was only joking, which made me feel uneasy. She also criticized my clothing choices, pointed out habits that annoyed her, commented on my weight, and asked if I could gain weight to reach 70 kilograms. I was at 65 and recovering from gastritis at the time. I took steps to eliminate those bad habits, such as chewing loudly while eating, aimed to reach 70 kilograms, practiced better photography, and so on, in hopes of meeting her expectations of an ideal partner. Additionally, she questioned my sexual orientation because of my clumsiness. While I wasn't offended by her remarks, they did make me more self-conscious about my weight. During our final month together, I endured silent treatment for seemingly no reason, leading to a verbal confrontation where we ended things on bad terms. I found silent treatment to be particularly hurtful, making those who care feel foolish. It was a heated argument, and that marked the last time we communicated. I often reflected on whether I had been inconsiderate, or if I should have apologized, and whether things could have turned out differently. More than a month after our breakup, I came across photos of her with a male friend she met on a hike, with whom she is now in a relationship. This made me realize something. During our last month together, she had mentioned not feeling like talking and wanting to cope with missing me. We had reconciled shortly before our breakup and returned to our usual affectionate exchanges. I never felt jealous of the friends she made on her hikes. In fact, I was grateful to them for helping her complete the climbs. She had aspirations, and I always supported her. While I have moved on, one lingering concern is whether she was unfaithful during our relationship, especially coming from someone who had experienced that betrayal firsthand. It also prompted me to question my own actions. I have been losing sleep over what happened and the extent to which I compromised to ensure she didn't endure similar difficulties to those she had faced previously. However, this reflection also led me to consider that I should have valued myself more than I did. In summary, It appears my ex may have been unfaithful with the gentleman she met during one of her hikes. Edit, I have summarized the backstory. Edit 2, I corrected our ages.